let us start discussing about risk line and the economic region of production and how to derive that region. RIB, ridged line. Now ridged line is a locus of point on a isoquant map along which the value of the marginal productivity of a factor becomes 0. So it is a locus of point on an isoquant map along which the marginal productivity of a factor becomes 0. Now this is a very new concept for you. Let us start understanding it gradually. I will try to make the thing very easy for you. Let us try. The diagram will look bit clumsy and it is a very difficult diagram. Okay. First of all, you have to draw a set of isoquant map, a set of isoquants basically. So this is the set of isoquant, and in the x-axis we shall measure labor, and on the y-axis we shall measure capital. Okay. Now this is the first isoquant denoted by Q1, showing us 10 level of output, Q2 20 level of output, and Q3 30 level of output. Now as we go on, as we move downwards along the isoquant, we know that the marginal rate of technical substitution between labor and capital goes on falling or goes on diminishing. So it will eventually, the MRTS will eventually become 0 at a point, or the marginal productivity of a product will eventually become 0 at a point. Now why I am stating this thing? Let us take two tangents which are parallel to x-axis and y-axis. So this tangent is parallel to x-axis, and over here we have this tangent parallel to y-axis. Point A, point B. Now at point A you are using L1 amount of labor and say K5 amount of capital. Now by using this combination of input, if the isoquant is saying that you are able to produce 10 units of output. Now if you go beyond this point, say at this point, okay, you are still using L1 unit of labor. The labor amount has remained same, whereas the capital amount has increased. So if you compare point A with point C, which one is beneficial for you? At point C you are using 5 capital 1 labor, and by using this combination you are able to produce 10 units of output. At point C you are using 6 capital and 1 labor, and by using this combination you are again able to produce 10 output. Now what does it mean? The output level is same, however the level of input in case of C is bit higher. You are requiring or you are adding one more unit of capital. However, inclusion of that extra amount of capital is not giving you any benefit in terms of production. You are still in that same zone of production. You are still producing that 10 amounts of output. So being a producer, this obviously is illogical to you. You will always try to produce maximum using minimum inputs, okay, so that your cost of production is less. So why would you choose a combination or the combination C which has a additional amount of capital, and having that additional amount of capital is basically giving nothing more to you, or is not giving you anything in extra. So choosing this point for production is very vague or is very illogical. So over here, what are we basically witnessing? Over here, as we go on moving ahead or go beyond this point A, the marginal product of capital becomes zero. The productivity of capital is becoming zero. Why are we saying this? Because after 5 units of capital, if I add one more unit of capital, say 6 unit of capital, the extra 1 unit of capital is not giving me anything extra in form of output. Okay, that means the 1 unit of capital that I have added has not given me anything in return. That means his productivity is zero. So his productivity is zero. So we can clearly say that at point A, the marginal productivity of capital is becoming zero. Okay, and beyond it, the marginal productivity of capital will become negative. Remember, here we are only saying that the marginal productivity of capital is only becoming zero, and nothing, we are not saying anything about the labor. Beyond this point, it will become negative. Similarly, for this isoquant, we will again have a point where the marginal productivity of capital will become zero. Over here, okay. For this also, we will have a point where the marginal productivity of capital will become zero. So at point A, C and D, at point A, C and D, the marginal productivity of capital is zero. So if we join this A, C and D by a line, freehand line, we will get the upper ridged line. The upper ridge line basically consists of all the points at which the marginal productivity of capital is zero. Okay, so this is the upper ridge line. How did we get it? By joining the various points lying on various isoquants at which the marginal productivity of capital is zero. And along this upper ridge line, the value of MRTS is MRTSLK equals to marginal productivity of labor by marginal productivity of capital, isn't it? Let me check it first. Okay, so at this line I am saying that the marginal productivity of capital is zero. So ampere will be in positive only. However, the denominator part is zero. So anything divided by zero is basically infinity. So along the upper ridge line, the marginal product, the MRTS LK is equals to infinity. Okay. So if you are asked what is ridge line, first you will say that it is a locus of point on a isoquant map along which the value of the marginal productivity of a factor becomes zero. Okay. Then you will say about in the upper ridge line the marginal productivity of capital becomes 0, and if the marginal productivity of capital becomes 0, then the value of MRTS LK along this line becomes infinite. Okay. Similarly, we also have these tangent lines which are perfectly parallel to x-axis, and along this point the marginal productivity of labor is becoming 0. Okay. B, E, F. So at point B, E, F, just like A, C, D, where the marginal productivity of capital was 0, over here the marginal productivity of labor will become 0. Beyond this point, see, if you are at point B, you are using this much amount of capital and this much amount of labor. Okay, 5 units of labor and 1 unit of capital. And if you move beyond this point, आप खुद के पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मारोगे बेसिकली, क्योंकि you will be using one more extra unit of labor and the same unit of capital. However, this extra unit of labor won't fetch you anything more. You will still be producing 10 level of output. So क्यों खुद का लॉस करवाना है? एक यूनिट लेबर क्यों ज़्यादा काम में लगवाना है? इसको अगर नौकरी दोगे तो you have to pay him wages. So it is meaningless to give this sixth labor a scope of employment, and because he won't give anything to you in return. So at point B, the marginal productivity of labor is becoming 0. Similarly, at point E and F also, the marginal productivity of labor will become 0. And if you join this line or these points, you will get the lower ridge line. Now, along the lower ridge line, the marginal productivity of labor is 0, and the value of MRTSLK along this line is MPL by MPK, that is 0 by MPK equals to 0. 0 divided by anything is 0. So along the lower ridge line, the value of MRTSLK equals to 0, whereas along the upper ridge line, the value of MRTSLK equals to infinite. Okay, and this region, the region bounded by the two ridged lines, is termed as the economic region of production. Means if you choose to produce within this range, or if you choose to produce, or if you choose any combination from this range of indifference map, isoquant map, then you will be at a beneficial position. You will be able to produce the output efficiently. Okay, so this is the logical portion or the logical zone of production. Means इसके बाहर अगर आप choose करोगे कोई भी combination, it will imply that you are giving employment to the factors, to some factors who are not contributing anything to your output. You are just promoting disguised unemployment. Okay, so the region bounded by the two ridged lines is basically your economic region of production. Any point within this economic region is a logical, will give you a combination of input and output, which will give you a logical level of output. Okay, so any combination within this phase is a logical combination of input and output, input to एम्प्लॉय। अगर आप इसके बाहर कोई कॉम्बिनेशन चूज करके लेबर एंड कैपिटल को एम्प्लॉय करोगे, दैट इट विल इम्प्लाई दैट यू आर giving opportunity to certain factors, certain labor and capital who are not capable of giving anything to you in return. So you should stick to this region and choose those combination which falls within this region. फिर से बोल रहा हूँ, any point within this region will give you a combination of inputs, two inputs which are logical for your production. Okay, so this is the concept of rich line and the concept of the economic region of production. Lastly, let us end the class by discussing the concept of isocline. ISOCLIN. This is also new to you. So isocline is basically a locus of point along which the value of MRTS LK remains constant. So technically the expansion path, the ridged lines are also isocline. Now along the expansion path the value of MRTS LK remains same. So in case of expansion path we have the isocost line and the isoquant lines. Okay. Now the expansion path is derived by joining the equilibrium points. Now at this point, point A and point B, at point A we have MRTS LK, that is the slope of isoquant is equals to wage by rate of interest, that is the slope of that is the slope of isoquant. Okay, similarly at point B also we have MRTS LK equals to wage by R, that is rate of interest. So along the expansion path the value of MRTS remains constant, that is wage by rate of interest. And again in case of ridge line also, these lines, along these two lines also the value of MRTS remain constant. Along the upper ridge line the value of MRTS LK remains fixed at infinity. We have derived it just moments ago. Similarly along the lower ridge line the value of MRTS LK remains equals to 0 along the entire line. So any line along which the value of MRTS LK will remain constant will be termed as isocline. Okay, so this was all for today. So from the next class we shall start with the concepts of cost. We are halfway through the chapter and gradually in just two classes I guess we will finish the entire chapter. Thank you.